Servus Männer, it's Red Pill Germany again. First of all, I wish you a Merry Christmas or a good winter solstice celebration or whatever you might be celebrating towards the end of the year. Most people celebrate something. I hope that you could get some peace, some quiet time, and most importantly, celebrate with your family and your loved ones. So, I told you in my last video that a lot of time has passed since I made manosphere content or since I talked um, more in depth about these topics, and because a lot of time has passed, a lot of things changed. So now you see there is this very important concept of the wall, which means that when women become older and signs of aging show, especially on their faces, but also on their hands and necks and so on, they become less attractive to men. They don't signal fertility anymore, and that is why they can only get partners that don't want a long-term relationship generally with them, and they get passed around in the local dating pool, or they don't get any male attention anymore, depending on the standards that they have. Okay. Now the thing is, back then, those post-wall women were Gen X or older, and now the millennials, or the older millennials, or millennials in general, approach this wall, and they deal with that very, very differently. See, back in the day, men, and this is what got me excited about men going their own way and such, they shared their experiences and the experiences within their radius of knowledge or of their friends and family, acquaintances, work, colleagues, what have you. They just exchanged anecdotes, and by pooling all these anecdotes online, they became more than that. They almost became actual data, because, if everyone around the world says more or less the same thing, or at least in the Western world, there gotta be some truth to that. See, now we don't really need that anymore, because now the internet has become so easy to use that even the average female can do that. And I don't want to be nasty, but it is just what it is. Since we have smartphones and Instagram and now Tic Toc, the demographics of the creators has somewhat changed, and we have a lot more women who engage in that sort of thing. And what they do on TikTok, this Chinese Communist Party app, is that they cry a lot, actually. And you don't really need to ask men anymore and build up these pools of anecdotes. No, you can just listen to these women directly while they cry on TikTok about how they miss their ex-husband and how they don't get any partners anymore. So all that stuff that was talked about for 10 years in the manosphere, it's totally correct. And in 2023, women were telling us, in their own words, on camera, basically all these stories. They are affirming, they are corroborating all these models and theories and all that stuff. So very nice. And you don't even have to go on TikTok, because there are YouTubers, of course, who probably make a living out of having these compilations where they look on TikTok and every week they bring you the best ones. And then you have people like Pearl, who is then making reaction videos to those reaction videos. And you don't really need to do the work yourself anymore. So this is basically what's new. And also I want to add, I watched a couple of those videos, and there are some themes that are interesting to me. It struck me, for example, that they use a lot of esoteric mumbo-jumbo terms that must come somehow from some sort or some school of therapy. there are some red flag words that I just noticed, and that is growth and healing and what was the other one? Nah, I think that's enough, I guess. Growth, healing. Oh, energy, energy. He had this energy. I have this energy, or something like that. Yeah. A lot of these women say that there was absolutely nothing wrong with their husband, none of the classical things that would lead to divorce that normal people think of, like some form of mistreatment or some, I don't know, some substance issue or anger issue. No, no, they were really great guys. They broke their back to support their family. They did everything for me. But I just needed to grow. I wasn't in that place anymore. I have a different energy now. And um, which just means that she gets bored and she looks into the mirror. She thinks she's still 16, and she thinks that out there is some hotter guy, and they're not saying it, but it is the same reason why these normally happily married women, or you might assume a normal person would be happy. But the thing is, these women, these modern women, can never be happy. And they look for outside causes or reasons for their unhappiness when it's within themselves. They are the problem. Um, and they think they can get some more excitement, and maybe they regret that they didn't really um, you know bang all the guys that they could when they were 20. But when they look in the mirror, they still think they are looking as good as 16, 18, 21, what have you. But they're clearly not, of course, and only their husbands probably saw them that way, and they left the only guy on the planet who still treats her like she wants to be treated, meaning a like respect and long-term relationship, and being treated like as if she were still hot. Yeah, but no other guy than her own husband would treat her like that. That's what they don't get. That's the great tragedy of the modern woman. Maybe I do a more in-depth video about that in the future, but suffice it to say for now that a lot of them regret it, like 1 year afterwards, when they realize that yeah, everything that we talked about 10 years ago is absolutely true, and they get just passed around and they get ghosted then. Um, yeah, and they destroyed a functional, healthy, and potentially happy family. The only thing that made the family unhappy was probably the modern woman herself. And they document everything for us to examine on TikTok. How nice is that? Yeah, and that is really new. Yeah, yeah. So in a way, nothing has changed, but yeah, the fact that they self um, report and document that has changed a little bit. And the other thing I noticed, and I think this is important, and maybe some department in the Communist Party intelligence sector or something has something to do with that. Like in the 80s and 90s, this is my experience with divorce back then, there was always some woman of some that tried to pull happily married women into these women's seminars where they would meet on the weekend and leave their families and go drinking or whatever and do some kind of pseudo psychotherapy crap. Again, making the woman unsatisfied, telling the woman that she deserves more, and really yeah, egging the woman on to leave her husband and her kids, or taking the kids with her. And that was done in a, yeah, in a really IRL way, like going on a seminar, booking a room, booking a venue, all that stuff, and then exchanging all that crap. And they they came up with this artificially created field of study, like women's studies, which is not a real thing, of course. The only thing was that they tried to break up families. Now, this is done much more efficiently and with much more effort these days. It's done over TikTok. There are apparently these TikTok communities where, and you can tell by this lingo that they use, as I mentioned earlier, growth, healing, energy, blah blah blah. Um, they 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 do that over social media these days. So and this is what probably the Chinese want also. I mean, they have these social media circles now, these networks on TikTok or Instagram, what have you, and they pump out this message telling it's the same old messages in the 80s and the 90s that the woman deserves more, she can get so much more, and more excitement, more fun. She's still young, 40 is the new 20, what have you, right? Making the woman believe that if she just left her husband, a life of excitement and glamour, just like, yeah, you know, um, all these TV shows catering to these women, yeah, Sex in the City and stuff like that, for example. Such a lifestyle would just be around the corner if she just filed for divorce, right? That is done via TikTok these days, yeah. And this clearly is evident from the testimony of these women in these videos, or these snippets, I should rather say. Yeah, and then they're crying to their following, trying to get attention, and maybe part of it is fake, just a, just a means to get attention. But I think a a a sizable part of that content is true. These stories are true, I believe. These soccer moms taking these little videos with their smartphones in a parking lot, and it's most of these videos are done in cars, by the way. So maybe they drop off their kids to daycare and then they sit in the parking lot taking these videos. Um, this is really a common thing. Most of them are shot in the car. What a glamorous life that must be. Anyway, yeah, this is just what I noticed. These are my 2 cents about how some things remained the same and some things changed in a maybe more technical way, or the way that this, yeah, brainwashing or this kind of psyop is being, yeah, distributed or facilitated around the globe or within the Western world now. Anyway, so let me know what you think about that in the comments down below. And as always, Servus, Kameraden.